Hello and welcome to another unboxing video. Today I'm looking at Freedom, the Underground Railroad from Academy Games. This was a game released in 2012 and really received lots of awards back then. It's kind of fallen off the radar a little bit, but I've always had my eye on it, and I'm very pleased to receive this new this game that's just had another reprint. And if you wanted to pick up a copy, you should be able to find it in stock and online, in all the usual places. On the back, we've got a graphic of what's included in the game. I've never played this game before, so this is be completely new to me. But obviously, the subject of this game is the Underground Railroad, which helped slaves in southern American states escape to freedom up to the northern states and into Canada. Now, I can distinctly remember as a school child seeing that graphic of the slave ships with the bodies just crammed in horrendous conditions. And I remember thinking, or being taught about the conditions of the slaves, and it's for some reason it's always stuck in my mind, and I'm very curious to see how the treatment and the slaves are portrayed in this game. Now, I know it can be a very divisive subject, but I'm not I play games to enjoy them and to learn something about the subject, so I have no issues with games that portray unpleasant situations or war games where the Nazis did horrific things, likewise slavery or terrorists in Afghanistan. All these games, I think, do bring something to the debate and allow us to learn a little bit more than we normally would through reading a book or seeing the news reports, by immersing ourselves in some of the decisions that these people made. Anyway, without further ado, I didn't mean to bash on about that as much, but I dare say a game with this topic merit or invites that type of discussion. So let's open this up and see what we've got. So we've got a rule book in a plastic cover. Here's the rule book, replicating the artwork on the front. And I think I saw some historical notes on the back there, which in a game about history as much as this is, that's almost necessary in my opinion. We've got some playing cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 playing cards. The same back on each. So the preacher, agent, shepherd, conductor, stockholder, station masters. Now, as I understand it, you are playing in all cases helping the slaves to escape by being one of the station masters or conductors on the Underground Railroad. At no point are you trying to prevent the slaves escaping. You are on the right side of this debate, and there is no debate. In fact, you are on the right side. 2 rule summaries, exactly the same, and you've got 3 counter sheets with quite muted pastel-y colours, which is quite nice looking actually. Some money coins and something else, I'm not really sure. But there's a date, if you can just see that, if it's going to zoom, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but it looks like there's eras that you play through, and some of the coins are only playable in different eras. Here's the game board. Oh, it's bigger than I was expecting. Let's try and get this flat. I've got no hope of getting this all onto camera. It's an unusual sized board. It's quite long. Let me just see if I can... No, I'm not gonna... It's long and standard width across this way, but fairly long. And again, it echoes the muted pastel colours. On the right hand side, you've got the map of the eastern states, with Georgia, Alabama, historically slave supporting states, and then tracks, dare I say, up to the north, where you've got the freedom supporting or slave freedom supporting states, and then on up into Canada, where, if I just move that down, a lot of these tracks terminate with an arrow point. Some spaces for card decks, and then on the far left of the board we've got this newspaper like section. The board looks very nice, quite reminiscent of a Martin Wallace game. And we've got a whole bunch of, I believe these are slave cubes, which you'll be moving around the board trying to get them up to Canada. And then the different pieces on the player pieces, I think, as they move around the board. And I think one of these is a slave catcher. Maybe this brown block. Anyway, I'll get to read and understand. Dice, unusual dice, shapes and colours which correspond to one of these tokens. So we've got a yellow triangle, a brown cube, a blue pentagon, a purple oval, an orange circle, and all of those are shown on that dice. So as you roll the dice, you'll be able to activate one of those. And this dice just indicates how many times they can move. So they can go through 2 black arrows, they can go through 3 white arrows. But I've got quite an immature understanding of the game at the moment. So I'll look forward to reading the rule book and getting it to the table. In here we've got the Freedom card deck. On the back, all the same, not part of the game. And on the Freedom card deck, you've got the same date on the top with historical pictures from the time period or important prints from the period. Look nice. I'm looking forward. There's a bit of fluff text on the bottom. And I actually really enjoy the fluff text, especially in a historical game, because that's where a lot of the learning is done. And then there's a smaller deck of cards here, which are lots of slave market cards, which I hesitate to use those terms, but that's what they are. Can't shy away from history as much as we would like to, or even the present sometimes. And then player reference cards or action cards. I'm not sure what these are. There's different on each side, so use it once, turn it over. Can't quite remember what you do with them. And then finally, we've got some nice cardboard tokens for how many slaves you've freed and lost. So slaves freed in a 3-player game, if you manage to get 20 slaves freed, you've won. And if you've lost you can lose up to 14 slaves before losing the game. And I should say that this is you can play it solo, which I'm looking forward to trying out. And it does go up to 4 players, all cooperatively working to help slaves into freedom. So that is what you get with Freedom, the Underground Railroad. Please subscribe if you like this channel, and I hope to be doing some more box openings shortly and continuing to write reviews at wargamersneedfulthings.co.uk.